All right, we're going to look at linear equations and how to solve for x. So the first thing you need to know is the slope-intercept form. And the slope-intercept form equals y equals mx plus b. You should know that x and y are points on the graph. You should also know that m is the slope and b is a y-intercept. So let's explain this a little bit further. So what I mean by points on the graph, we're talking about the x and the y. So let's put this together. So what I mean by x and y are points on the graph, we're talking about the x is a value and a y is a value. So sometimes you can substitute those. Next you have m. M is the slope, and that's the number right in front of the x. So when we say slope, we mean m can equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So slope has its own formula. Next, we know that b is a y-intercept. So with b being the y-intercept, this is going to be where the graph crosses the y-axis. So this is where the graph crosses the y-axis. Remember that when you are looking at a graph, x is horizontal and y is vertical. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the problem. For the first problem, we have y plus 1 equals negative 3 times 5 minus x. So I want to solve for y. And to do that, we're going to distribute that negative 3 into the parentheses. So when we do that, we're going to say we have negative 3 times x and negative 3 times negative 5. So we're going to get y plus 1 equals negative 3x plus 15. Now I'm going to, again, solve for y. We're going to use Pemdas. But when we use Pemdas, we're going to start from the right and then go to the left. I have a 1 being added to the y, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And we say y equals negative 3x plus 14. And this is our solution. Okay, so for this next one, we're going to say y plus 8 equals 1 over 6 times x plus 6. So I'm going to distribute that 1/6 into my parentheses. So I want to talk about the distribution. So when you take that 1/6 and you multiply it, when you take the 1/6 and you multiply it. Okay, so again, we're trying to get slope-intercept form, and our next question is going to be y plus 3 equals 1/8 times x plus 8. I'm going to distribute that 1/8 into the parentheses. So I get 1 over 8 times x. So I just write them next to each other. And then I'm going to show you how to multiply fractions. So I have 1 over 8 times 8. So when you multiply fractions, you're going to multiply going across. So it's 1 times 8 and then 8 times 1. So my answer is 8 over 8. And then when I put those together, I simplify and I just get 1. My new solution is 1. And then you just bring down the y plus 3 on the left-hand side. So now I want to get y by itself. I'm going to use Pemdas. And when I use Pemdas, I'm going to start from the right and then work my way to the left to get y by itself. So I subtract 3 from both sides. So I get y equals 1/8 x minus 2. Okay, so now we're going to rewrite the next equation. So y plus 5 equals 1 over 7 times x plus 7. I'm going to distribute the 1/7 into the parentheses on the right hand side. So then from here I'm going to get y plus 5 equals 1/7x. And then when I multiply my fractions, 1/7 times 7, or it's 7/1. And then when I multiply going across, so it's 1 times 7, then 7 times 1 equals 7/7. Trying to cross them out, reduces to 1. I'm going to say plus 1. Subtract 5 from both sides. Y equals 1/7x minus 4. Okay, so for our next equation, we're trying to get y equals mx plus b, just as a reminder. So now I have 7x plus 20y equals -11. So I want to get the y by itself. All right, so to do that, I need to move over the 7x. That's a positive 7x, so I subtract 7x. Now, since we can't combine anything with the 7x and the 11 and the -11, so we're just going to write them next to each other. So I have 20y equals -7x minus 11. This is multiplications of the 20 and the y, so undo the multiplication by dividing by 20 to each term. So I get y equals -7/20x minus 11 divided by 20, or 11/20. And that's my answer. Alrighty, here's another example. I want to get y by itself. So I'm going to distribute the 10 into the parentheses. So I get y minus 4 equals 10x minus 20. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Y equals 10x minus 16. And that's my solution. Here's another problem where we have to get y by itself. So I have -y minus 15 equals -x. We want to move the 15 to the right. So plus 15 plus 15. So I get -y equals -x plus 15. And then this negative in front of the y needs to go away because I want to have y equals mx plus b. You should know that this is a positive y, okay? So because this right here is a negative, it's a negative y, I'm going to divide both sides by -1. -1, -1, -1. So when you divide or multiply by -1, it changes all signs. So now I have y equals a negative divided by a negative equals a positive. So we're going to have positive x. And then a positive divided by a negative equals a negative. And then I have -15. And that's my solution. All right, we have another equation. I want y equals mx plus b. This is a positive y. So I have to get y by itself over here on the left. First thing I'm going to do is going to subtract 3x from both sides to try and get the y by itself. So I'm going to have 6y equals -3x minus 8. And because this is multiplication, I'm now going to divide by 6 each term. So y equals -3/6, x minus 8/6. Okay, so because I have fractions, so fractions automatically mean to simplify. So the first fraction, I'm going to, let's use a different color. I'm going to reduce, so I'm going to simplify the first fraction, or reduce the top and the bottom by 3. So I have y equals negative 1 over x, 1 over 3 times x. And then for the second fraction, I'm going to divide by 2, because 2 goes into 6 and 8. So I'm going to have a negative again, and I'm going to have 4 over 3. And that's my solution. All right, see you in class.